Call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for Devanarchy, and interface with a couch in space. What is up, Internet? Good to see you. It's like breathing, just to be able to get back here on the couch. I mean, literally, I'm breathing recycled air because I'm in space, but it's metaphorically, it's also like breathing. What is up to Mordeth on Twitch? First in the chat. We'll get into it. I understand you guys are still having some problems down there on terra firma, but we'll hash it all out in a second. First, I want to get to our wonderful advertisers. You're never going to believe it. Not in 1,000 years, this amazing sponsor that we got. It is Tiger Squawk Records. Holy motherfucking shit. Check it out. We got Sex Death Religion is back with Distant Images, 2-track deep house. Siren, 15-year best of chronology. That's amazing. Virtual Terrorist is back with their new single, Neurolace EP. Industrial, Corrupted Memories, pre-order now. Cythery out now from Science Fiction. And Otterbat Super Chat, new episode available at OtterbatSuperChat.bandcamp.com. Gasoline Invertebrate, it's a sensation! Check that out. Next weekend, the Gothicals play Virtual Sanctuary Festival, Terminus Festival online. There will be a space couch, and I'm appearing on other podcasts, and I'm going to try not to die. So, we will do all that next week. That's then, this is now. And I'm very excited about right now. Absolute friend of the show. And has always got something new and amazing to show us because the dude just doesn't stop. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my esteemed pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Stephen Archer, Stoneburner. What is up? What is up, sir?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
The street. There you go. Okay. I was trying to get you up on Twitch just so I could see any comments. I mean, the Twitch thing is still new to me. I'm still kind of getting used to the whole thing.
Well, we can start here. You may be new to Twitch itself, but you're certainly no stranger to streaming. You've been just hitting the online festivals like a beast, man.
Yeah, it's been really, really cool. I was saying earlier that when I saw this coming down the pipe, that I kind of immediately went and just kind of realized that like this is a whole new medium and it's a whole chance. Like for artists, we can either look at this as a real difficult situation where we can't tour, or we can step up and go to the fans and be like, look, this is what we have. This is our thing, and if I just in doing what I do can make things easier for everybody else, then that's awesome. And also it allows me to kind of not have to worry about putting together a setup live that I have to take down every night, so I don't have a ton of space in the broadcast space for the bands, but it allows me to really play with all kinds of different ideas and I'm an art guy, I'm a visual guy, so I think a lot about how I want all of it to come across, and I have all of these different ideas of, wow, it'd be really cool if I could do X, Y, and Z. Well, now I can because I don't have to worry about making it portable.
That is amazing.
So I can just leave all 4 video projectors up and things like that,
And you really do. I mean, I've as a fan, I've been catching them. I think I'm at 100% attendance, but you really have made them all look different. There's an evolution there. It's you can really see the visual aspect in the audio medium. I mean, your live shows have always been a stage play to some effect. Not that it's fake, but there's definitely there's like blocking in it. It looks great. Um, the uh, but having this level of control as a visual artist in absolutely what goes out, like it looks the same to everybody, no matter where they are. Like the live show might look different, like if you're standing stage left or stage right, and now
Yeah.
everybody's got the same screen.
Hmm.
Has that changed the way you present it in any way?
Um, I don't think that specifically
Mm,
has. I mean, like it's more of just a because I'm doing these fairly regularly. So how I present it does change because
mm,
I only have like a finite amount of Stoneburner stuff that I
yeah.
can do live, and so I had always wanted to do kind of a bunch of covers and stuff under Stoneburner sound system because I just thought it'd be fun.
Mm,
And then I was like, well, if I do this, if I do these covers, then that gives me a new thing, just a new show every few
mm,
weeks, and to get
cool.
people to keep coming back, and it just helps keep the product going,
Mm,
and that has been just a real blast to do because I've been able to do, I'm really just mostly just focusing on stuff I like,
totally.
like stuff that I'm really adamant about, but um, from a musician point of view, I've learned producer more point of view. I've learned so much about trying to recreate some of this stuff, like going in and really listening to each individual sound in a song and
Mm,
breaking all stuff down. Um, but anyway, so from a performance aspect, I how do you can I can do all kinds of tricks, but in the end, it's still just going to be me in this room with
mm,
this stuff. And
right.
so I could overlays and all this other stuff, but in the end, it's still just going to be overlays over the same thing that I've been doing.
Mm,
So I've been really working a lot on how to change that up, and I've got some ideas, but I haven't been able to fully realize them yet
mm.
about like how you change the space itself constantly.
Oh,
Like I want to.
cool.
One of the things I'm doing, and I won't be able to implement this show, but probably the next one, is just simply have a black backdrop that comes down behind me to kill everything and make it just this for one or two songs, make it much more of an intimate
Mm,
performance where there's no screens, just me, black, and that, or just anything that I can think of to do it. Like what I would like to do is a friend of mine, Jarvis,
what the?
thank you, Jarvis, gave a whole bunch of video projectors, and
Big ups to
I'm using
Jarvis.
them. I know, right? I'm using them to a degree, but like in The Mandalorian,
Yeah.
where he's like out running around, in these beautiful scenes. All of that was video projection built in their new Unreal
Really?
Engine. Yeah, and so it was all just project. So literally, all of that was happening in real time behind him.
Wow.
And
Would
I
have
would
never
love to
thought.
try and do something like that. But I mean, these projectors are 10 years old, so I don't have a lot. They have to be really far away to get any distance to it.
Mm,
So I don't know if I can pull that off. But it's trying to just think with what you have and figure out ways to make it all work together
very
without
cool.
without having to put too much. Without having to break the show up. Like if I have to
Mm.
set things up in the middle of a
Oh,
performance,
right.
that's going to look weird. So like if I have this black backdrop come down
Mm.
and then everybody has to watch me like
Yeah, right.
back up, that's going to blow it. So I'm
Especially when the
like,
next thing is now just a click away.
right. Yeah, exactly. And but with that one, what's cool is I've got these little old lights that rolled and one of them doesn't work. So I think I'm going to actually just try and mount them on the ceiling and use them to with DMX and just have it roll the whole thing up and wind around
Oh,
the
cool.
lights. So we'll
That's
see if I can make that work.
wow, doing construction work. That's pretty dope.
Oh yeah, no, well I've had to like all of my
Yeah,
movers are
you
now
have,
mounted
yeah.
mounted on the ceiling and stuff, and yeah.
That is certainly true. You have rocked the Sonic Jungle Gym for quite a while. I went to the live show stuff right away because I got excited about it. But I want to jump into this because you've just been like a nuclear submarine of production lately. It's out of control. In
One
the
ping,
what's that?
one ping only.
Oh gosh, no, several pings. Uh, four four new albums, and one just came out Friday.
Yeah.
Compromat one. Of a bunch of covers. Like you've just been on fire lately. It's great to see. Let's get into Compromat one. Like, what led you to do a covers album in the first place?
Well, I'd been thinking about doing it anyway, and then one of the nice things about this is once again you can look at this as good or bad, and I realized that I spend a good chunk of my life when we're not on tour planning the tour,
Hmm.
and now I don't have to do. So I don't have to worry about that money. I don't have to worry about the logistics of it. Like literally, all I have to
Mm.
do is get up and do the thing. So, you know, with that happening, that made things a lot easier. I do have some new material that I'm working on, but for and we'll play some of that later, actually.
Woo!
Um, and but it just I figure if I'm going to do all these covers, I might as well put them out,
That's
and
awesome.
I mean, as an artist, we don't have day jobs. This is all we do. So anything that I can do to keep money coming in is great, and so it it works, and I think the covers are good. I think that it's
They are.
a lot of fun to do them. I hope that I'm really really happy with the Massive Attack one
Okay.
because I didn't think I could do it. Like
Oh, what do you mean?
trying to do a lot of, for me, these really iconographic songs,
Hmm.
and Inertia Creeps is one of those ones where it's like, it's kind of like Orgy doing Blue Monday. How can you improve on Blue Monday? Well,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
can't. I can't improve on Inertia Creeps, but I think I can
Hmm.
do something really interesting with it.
All right.
Or um, or even doing that Covenant cover. I had told Eskel at one point that it was one of my favorite songs. I was going to do a cover of it, and
Hmm.
when I finally did, I sent it off to him, and he was like, "Oh, that's a cool, funky cover. Yeah, that's cool." And so it was nice to kind of get that reinforcement that worked. You
Nice,
know,
man. No,
so.
it's really good. Where can people get that?
Oh, it's on through the Stoneburner Bandcamp, which I am now, or at least currently, record label free. So please come to my it's Stoneburner official Bandcamp, and
Stoneburner
all the
official
money, all the
Bandcamp.
money goes to me.
Uh, Nico66 says you don't want to unlace your beauty shoe. I won't unlace my beauty shoe, sir or ma'am. I don't know what that means. But back to you, because if we rewind the clock just a little bit, like a month or something, we hit Red and Tooth and Claw. Also awesome. Uh, Tell us about that and the inspiration for Red and Tooth and Claw.
All right. Okay, so Jim Simonic was putting out the new Electronic Saviors, which is now finally out.
Props.
And I'd committed to writing a song for it, and I'd been thinking about, once again, visual guy, and I think a lot about performances and the way that I'm presenting myself to the audience, or the icon of who I am on stage is presenting itself. And I got into this idea of kind of the ultimate apex predator, like this kind of, and for a while I was thinking about the werewolves in Cycle of the Werewolf in Stephen King's
Okay.
the illustrated book, and just how just these massive carnivores, and they just are this force of nature, and I
Hmm.
really like that idea a lot. So I wrote this song for the compilation called Lupus Invocat Lupus, which is Wolf Calls to Wolf. Um, and that was kind of the beginning of this idea that kept going, because I did the song and it was good, and it functions really well, but I wanted to explore it a bunch more. Um, when I work, I need a I need limits on it, and so I make them. And one of the ways I did that with Belligerence was I knew what the title of the record was, and I
Hmm.
knew, and so I gave all the songs titles before I had written them, and that helped me kind of knock them all into, stick with the theme. So I knew I was doing the EP, and I had a bunch of demos for the music, but I didn't know what the lyrics were or any of that stuff. And but I was ready to start doing a little bit of preliminary advertising for it, and then So I was just like, well, what am I going to call this thing? And Red and Tooth and Claw just popped out
Mhm.
from the poem, and I was like, perfect. Okay, nature, Red and Tooth and Claw. Um, and as I was writing it, I began to find the story in it.
Nice.
The last EP had a story as well, and so does this one. Both of which are about kind of destroying the world. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's even a reference to a horrific disease in Red and Tooth and Claw. Um, so if I brought any of this on us, I apologize.
Well, yeah, we
Um,
can always trace it back to Steven. Blame Steven.
I, yep. But Red and Tooth and Claw ended up being a story about a what I call the world wolf, which is kind of a take on uh, Fenris and all of the giant mythological wolves.
Right.
Uh, and the story is basically that this wolf has always been with us, and he helped kind of protect man when it was younger, and they would worship him. One day he meets a normal, regular-sized she-wolf, and they fall in love, and she grows to be the same size that he is. He's like, 300 or 400 feet tall, um, and bright red with a big chaos symbol on his forehead because it looks cool. Um, and what was funny, the red thing was after the fact. Like I started doing all of these drawings of him, and I was like, he's not popping enough, so I just
Mm,
made him bright red. And I was like, oh, that works. Okay, cool.
nice, nice.
Um, and they fall in love, and the first ice age comes along, and so they go and get in this den and just fall asleep. So that's in the past, and then he wakes up now, and she's gone.
Hmm.
um, he goes out of their den, and eventually trails her and finds, and he's just a dude, he's just this guy, he's just doing what he does, he's very neutral in the whole thing. And but then he finds her dying next to this polluted river that she's been drinking out of, and he loses his shit. And he's like, "What the fuck? Last time I saw you things, you were just these
Hmm.
apes, you know." And so he just decides, "All right, well, that's it," and he just goes on this rampage to destroy everything that he can because humans have polluted everything, destroyed all of it. So that was the overarching story for the whole EP.
Wow. I didn't know there was such a narrative to it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll show part of the video, I guess, later.
Yep.
And one of the problems with heavy concept stuff is you have no good way of explaining it practically. When I did
Right.
all the videos for Belligerents, they were all done practically. When I did the videos for Mass Driver and this, I had to just do them as kind of this weird fake animation thing because conceptually they were so far from the real world that I wouldn't have even known how to approach them. So yeah, so throughout the course of the record, like the first song, Red and Tooth and Claw, is just the overarching story, and then as it progresses, it gets into much more specifics about different aspects of the characters, and
Very cool.
the last song in the story is about how eventually the humans do, after about a month or so of rampaging, the humans do finally take the wolf down, and it's an incredibly sad song.
Wow.
Uh, Very sad video that I need to produce for it. It was like, this is going to be awful. This is going to be tragic. It's about this giant wolf dying, and I don't know, but it needs to exist. So here it is. But
Well, good
yeah, it's a
stuff.
very
We'll take a look at that in a second. My buddy Brett wants to know how about Steven's guest folks on Razorback Hollow's live stream? Wow.
oh, I was really shocked, and singing for me is relatively new. I haven't done it for a very very long. I did it in my first band, but then I haven't done it in about 20 years, and so getting back into it has been really really cool. And being asked to do that was fantastic because the music was all written and he had choruses in place, but I wrote all the verses and then sang it. And I was actually just because I'm doing a Stoneburner sound system show tonight, and I'm going to be doing that
Oh, yeah.
song. And I wrote Daniel last night, and I was like, a lot of these songs that I'm doing for this fall into the category of stuff I wish I had written.
Hmm.
And while I did write the verses for this. It's the choruses that make it work so well, and it's just a fantastic song. And so it was really very, very cool. Also, growing up during the tail end of the Cold War, right outside D.C.,
Mm-hmm.
allowed for the song's called Cold War, and it's about all that. So growing up during that time allowed for some interesting insights. I was basically kind of channeling Mike and the Mechanics' "Silent Running," that song,
Wow.
and just thinking about that sort of paranoia that went along with it, you know. So
I'm. We'll get into some of the aforementioned videos in a second, but I'm curious about something you said earlier about setting up boundaries for yourself. Is that so you don't spiral out and do 9,000 things, or are you like laying
yeah,
out track? Or okay.
yeah, like I have ADD. I'm highly
Uh.
medicated for it. Um, and the drug of choice for those with ADD is potential.
Oh wow.
Well, I could
Okay.
do this, or I could do that, or
Right.
I could do
Right.
this, or I could do that. And so and I don't want to be that guy. Like, I don't
Mm.
want to be the person that starts all of this stuff and never finishes it. So one of the ways that I've learned to keep that under control is by giving myself rules. So not only does it keep that under control, but it also forces you to think outside the box. When we first did the original demos for Ego Likeness, we did all of that on a 4-track with no gear, not knowing what we were doing.
Mm.
And we made this thing and it still works. And Metropolis released it 20 years later on CD, which is amazing to me. But I think about that a lot with all of it because, you know, art is never about the tools. You need to have access to certain tools, but they're very limited. They're very small little tools, basic tools. I always tell people, I'm like, look, you don't need the best brushes and all this other
Mm.
stuff. It's like, you can give me some dirt and some water and a stick and a blank piece of sidewalk, and I can do a piece of artwork on that sidewalk.
Yeah.
You know, it's going
You
to look
can.
like it was done with dirt and a stick, but the work that I put into it, the part that I'm contributing to it, is going to make it into a thing. It's going
Mm.
to have my hands, it's going to have my ideas, all that stuff. And so when you put those rules down, it allows you to kind of go, okay, these are my tools. This is my tool set for this,
Mm.
and now I have to figure out how to solve the problem. And there's always a way to do it. Like I was talking
Very
to somebody
cool.
earlier about Red and Tooth and Claw, and a lot of my stuff starts out with just what if. Red and Tooth and Claw was written with this. Well, what if I took Ministry and Roger Waters and stuck them together? And I went into it with this idea of I know I can do it. I'm good at what I do. So the trick is making it work and figuring out a system to make it work. And so one of the systems I used was writing one song in one style and one song in another style, and then slowly
Oh,
meshing
okay,
all the
cool.
stuff into it.
Cause
Um,
it's really good. It's really good, man. Um, well, you have certainly figured out a system to release material and actually finish the things you start to devastating effect. We have so many albums out. Uh, One by One has also since come out since we spoke. Fascinating. The the thing we're going to get into now, if it's cool, in addition to music and live streaming, is the video work. We had the SpaceX guys flew up here and like upgraded the couch for me, so we can now do, I think, live video commentary. We tried with Freeze Etch, I effed it up, but we'll do this
seem to be
here.
working really, so hopefully.
Yeah, just say Bing or next or something when we should switch videos. So let's just fire up the old. There we go. And so we will start off with the structure itself is in pain.
All
So we
right,
got
oh, so
go.
this stuff, technology and endurance in a large on.
Oh shit! You're cutting out a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
All right. So say that
Um,
again, please.
sure. Uh, the Technology Implies Belligerence, the last full length, was based largely on a book called Blind Sight by Peter Watts. And this song on it is the title of it came from the book itself. Uh,
Oh, I lost you. No. Okay, no, you're still. Give me some audio.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're fine.
If
You're
you
just.
want, you can run the video and then I can just talk about it afterwards. We
All
can
right,
switch
yeah,
back
but
over.
you're fine now. We'll try it one more time.
Oh, okay. So this video, all the footage in it that looks like it's from a movie was done by a bunch of fans, Russian fans
That's
of
awesome.
Blindside specifically. And when we were up in Toronto, I was at Peter's house and he showed me all this footage. And so I wrote them. I was like, hey, can I use that? And they let me. All the footage of me, this was the first video I shot for the album. And it was, you can't really see it very well, unfortunately, but I basically went into the pantry, covered myself in clay, wrapped myself up in tape and all this other stuff, and shot it with like 6 iPhones.
Wow.
But I didn't do the thing which I knew I should have done, which was light it really brightly and then put the color in later. I lit it all with stage lighting. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So
All right,
let's
so we can go to the next one.
check out Angel.
Oh, okay, so Angel of Abscess. This is the most complicated thing I ever did. It took me 4 days to build the set for that. The wall behind me is made up of, it's about 12 by 12 feet of X-rays that a fan sent me from their vet clinic, and then everything else is just stuff from around the house with lines and just have that. It's kind of.
Okay. We
Lighting,
keep
so-
losing you in audio a little bit. We're just gonna leave the audio off. We'll try it out.
Okay.
Oh God, it's just so scary. And that's all just stage makeup you had?
Oh yeah, it's cherry Kool-Aid and
Oh, very cool. Let's jump to Aware here. So this
okay,
is
so
great.
I did this 24 hours after the last video, and I shot it in like 3 hours because it was just a simple setup of just this curtain and then a table, and then I've got green screen paint on my sunglasses and on my hands, and then on my eyes. So it was just real simple, and I knew I wanted to have the lyrics in it, and so I ran it across as that ticker, but there were parts where I wasn't singing, or you can't really understand the lyrics, so I was able to add all of these other ideas that kind of built up the concept of the song.
Very cool. Very cool. So you had to. Oh, I didn't have that one set to loop. Your eyes are closed in that, and you've just painted over
Yeah.
the. Okay.
Yeah, I had to do this, like, basically I had everything running, and I had to shoot the second half of that video repeatedly with my eyes closed.
So here we have Identity.
Identity by Diagnosis. So this song was the first thing I ever did with the green screen. And my original plan was to have multiple me's playing all the instruments, but I couldn't get good shots at it. So I just ended up, there's one part where I'm playing drums, but otherwise I just went with this. And it's this video in 2 parts, and the song's in 2 parts. Like, it started out as a song that was a kind of just a love song for my wife. And then it ended up being a love song to both my wife and prescription drugs. And so this list that's running is a list of, at the time, all of the medication that we have been on in the last 20 years. Just to try and stay stable.
Wow. So this isn't you just making shit up off Wikipedia.
No.
This is the real deal.
No, this is based on personal experience.
Holy shit, dude. It's pretty intense. Well, I mean, Ego Likeness, I had the great fortune of having as the 4th or 3rd guest or something like that. Perhaps 2nd on Space Couch, and I said a phrase there that I have now worked into my own kind of vernacular, which is, yes, why wouldn't you write about that instead of just figuring out what rhymes with bat again? Like, you're you're taking this from your real life. Let's go to.
Well, art comes down to honesty, and even if I'm writing fictional stories in these songs, I mean, I'm pushing 50 at this point. Like, I'm not trying to be cool. I'm just trying to write music that matters to me, that talks about the things that you know, like, I'm a married artist. I don't have kids. We live in the woods. I am a world away from reality. And you know, so I can't write about, you know, the stress of life as a blue collar person or as a white collar person or anything. Like, I am so far removed from all of that. So it's just like, it would be fake. It would be lies for me to do any of that. So, you know.
I love it. Well, speaking of other worlds, let's go into space with Mass Driver.
Yeah. So this is the first video where I had to come up with a way of presenting this story about a character that just decides that humanity's got to go, and so what he's going to do is it's not that he can't, it's got to go. It's that it's very Machiavellian. He decides that he cannot make art, the beautiful art that he wants to make, with the materials he has. So he's going to blow up the sun and render the entire solar system down into component parts for art.
That's so dope. I gotta put on the audio for this one a little bit. You can still talk. You may cut out a second, but it's so good. I want to just throw in a little bit of it, because this is, you did something vocally here I've not heard you do before. This is like, technically you're really pushing those machine damage vocals. It sounds great.
Thank you.
I got over my skis, and we'll set that back to just regular. But yeah, good stuff. And this is all you had to do, each one of these paintings individually?
There were about 500 individual.
Get out of here!
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And it's just I did what was it, three songs, and so we'll actually get to the next one. So
you want to do it? Just jump to First World, or you want to talk about this one for a second?
Yeah, go jump to First World, because it'll come back to this sort of. So the first Mass Driver was, again, much like Red and Tooth and Claw. That's the overarching story. And as I wrote that first, and then began to learn the story more. So about 12 hours before he decides to fire into the sun and blow it up.
Yes.
He kidnaps one person and puts him on trial as a kind of humanities surrogate, and broadcasts that to the world, and basically just says, this is what you're doing wrong. Why is it like this? What's going on? And so this song, First World Murderer, is that broadcast of that trial and him kind of rendering his judgment on all of it. And then the final video, which isn't here, this is for Red and Tooth and Claw, but the final video and song for Mass Driver is basically a letter that he writes to humanity going, look, I know this sucks, but just be happy, because I'm going to do really great stuff with all of this. So it's cool. You're going to be dead, but be happy, because I'm turning it into beautiful art.
That's amazing. I do apologize. I thought you were gonna
no,
jump to
fine.
Red. I hit the. This is, it is, as much as I love this music, and I'm gonna have to put this one on for a second too. But this is another one where, I mean, are you gonna release the coffee table book of this? You had to do another 500 drawings. This is amazing.
A lot of the drawings, they don't actually look as cool when you remove them, because some of them are just like, well, here's another shot,
Well, right,
shot,
but like, I'm trying to convince myself to not spend $1,000 on He-Man animation cells, and it's just like a line drawing of Merman or something. Like, this would be awesome. Right. Give me 1 second. It's too good. I got to. Shit, I fucked it up. I gotta drop a little bit of audio on this, and we got real close today, everybody, with the talking, but kind of hitting some notes here, man. Like, for somebody who's purportedly can't sing, you can do it a fuck of a lot better than I can. that's a little bit of Red and Tooth and Claw, stoneburnerofficial.bandcamp.com. This is Steven's job. Help him out, people. And so we'll just set that to there. Okay, this is, we're going to go to the covers in a second. I'm going to hit the audio on it a bit because, like, same here. Like, I'm not going to not play some of Bullet. So, here we have this. I'm doing this on the fly, so just give me a second out there in internet land. Now it just looks like Steven rocking out. It'll sound like something in 2 shakes of a red wolf's tail. Oh god! Oh, it feels good. Like I hope I'm not weirding you up by being so effusive because I know we're personal friends. But this is like, oh, I'm getting chills. Like this, it's so good because it's like I'm at the age now where I know Bullet came out 20 years ago or whatever it is, but it feels like it came out about 10 minutes ago to me. So initially I was like, huh, Bullet, but it is a classic, and you just crush it. I'm gonna turn off the audio for a second just so we can hear your voice.
So I just shot this real fast in the live space just to give people an idea of what that whole thing is like, and also I just didn't even know how I would conceptually do it anyway. So, but this is, and really literally all I did was start OBS running and then shot one lip sync track per camera.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And Stoneburner sound system is Stoneburner, or is that a distinction at all?
It's me doing a bunch of covers, and then I mix my own stuff in there as well just to keep it in play. And I'm doing it right now. I seem to be doing it every other Sunday, so I'm doing it.
That's amazing. Sorry, I get excited.
I try and add like 5 or 6 new tracks every couple of weeks to it. So I've got a bunch of new stuff for this. I'll be doing a new Stoneburner song tonight, and so yeah, and it's just a lot of fun, and it's cool because I keep the monitors up so I can see what people are saying and actually can respond. Last week I actually did a cool little Q&A after the show, and we just sat down and talked about whatever.
Okay, cool, man. Well, Nick Jones of the Boundless is here, says that's amazing. Mordeth in Twitch says Steven's a better singer than he gives himself credit for being. Yeah, building better worlds, says Brett. Let's move on. Let's repeat that pattern, and we'll hear a little bit of audio. Then I'll cut back to you so we can get the commentary. Cool. So we have you here. Let me just make sure that loops, and space problems. Space problems. There's the sample right there. So we've got a little bit of the light. Who does this? This is beautiful. Who does this originally?
Love and Rockets.
Love and Rockets. Have you wanted to cover this for a while?
I hadn't thought about it. I actually did most of this like a year or so ago back, and then just went back and was like, oh, hey, I still have this. I hadn't thought about wanting to cover it, but I've always loved the song. It's one of those, like, almost anything that I think is going to actually get put out is a song that means a lot to me, and this definitely was. This is one of my I'm 17 and feel kind of alone songs. This was also shot in the broadcast space, just with one blue light and then against the rear projection screen at the back of the space, and then with one. The only other lighting on me is from the front projector.
Really?
Yeah.
That is, you are. I've always been a champion of. I mean, everybody wants new VSTs and gear and stuff, and that's all great. But like, I feel like you could do 18 albums with like a tin can and a broken modem and like a pen. Like, you've always been very, very incredible at that sort of thing. And here we go.
And it's fucking poor.
Well, I mean, Not after this episode of Space Couch, because everyone's
Oh,
going
that's
to.
true.
And we'll go out on a high note slash melancholic note with Inertia Creeps. Here we have the initial thing. Let me just do a little bit of on-the-fly repair, because, razor's edge of mortality, as we like to say on this show. And we're just going to loop it there. And that last one worked okay. Maybe we can do a little bit of audio commentary until you cut out. So here we have Massive Attacks on Inertia Creeps.
So
Oh, this is like a ransom video.
yeah. This went from concept to execution. I had the idea, and then I went out and shot it all in about 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
That might be. Well, I'm gonna shut up for a second because it's so like you were saying earlier, like, how am I gonna improve on Inertia Creeps? Like, they knock it. It was like an iconic moment in electronic music when that song was released. And this is how you would do it. Like, it sounds like it's absolutely you and it's absolutely the song at the same time.
Oh well, the song itself, doing the producing the song took me about 2 weeks, and I kept vacillating and going back. I kept having to do this thing where I send it to my friends and I'm like, is this cool? I can't tell. And and then just trying all of these different tricks. I actually went back to some of their original sample sources and pulled those directly. So like the breakdown, there's this turnaround in the bass turnaround in the bridge. Like I went to the song that they sampled that from and sampled it. I try really, really hard not to sample the actual songs.
That's cheating.
Yeah, exactly. This one I cheated a little bit, and I cut out the individual toms because getting them tuned right was really difficult. And they're such an important part of the song that if I didn't nail that right, it wouldn't work. But everything else I rebuilt.
Punk rock, breaking rules. Want to jump in for a second because we have Pill Brigade in the chat room. And Dan from Missing in Stars and Vein Collector also says what's up. But yeah, it's thank you for letting me jump in. Back to you. There are, when you want to do a song as much justice as you can, I certainly understand that impulse to take just little pieces of it. You don't want to do like, here's the hook again that I just sampled, but like it's so good. And that is Compromat 1 on, if I'm saying that right, correct me if I'm okay.
Compromised materials. Yep.
I see what you did there. Now that you've told me, and you want to do the song debut, or do you want to set the table on that a little bit?
No, okay. So whenever I get really irritated at myself if I live too much in one style of music or the other, because I like lots of different things, and I feel like I really did a good job with getting all of the industrial stuff out. And so whenever I do anything too much in one style, I try and go to the opposite end. And so I wrote this song, and once again, I don't play instruments very well at all. I cannot play piano, but I can program the shit out of one.
Okay.
And so I wrote this song with the idea of keeping it as minimal as possible, and trying to go from very, very, very noisy to very minimal, but still with noise and stuff in it for atmosphere. And once again, there's an amount of a story in this one as well. There's going to be a few other songs that follow the story, I think. I don't know what it's going to be, but it wants to have a few other songs around it, so that'll happen at some point.
Cool.
But yeah, this is a song called London.
Here is a debut of an upcoming Stoneburner track. You won't be able to hear it, Stephen, but like here we go. So you and I can talk. Oh wait, no, we're live. And we are back, going a little bit on the fly here. So, uh, thank you for sharing an exclusive preview of some upcoming, uh, wildly wide-ranging stuff from the mighty Stephen Archer, especially under the Stoneburner banner. Can't wait to get into that. I am also looking forward to what you might be doing tonight on this Sunday.
Tonight is I'll be doing a Stoneburner sound system show. It'll be on my page or on Twitch. I think it's Twitch TV/Ego Likeness, and then on YouTube also. If you just look for the Ego Likeness official YouTube page. And yeah, I'll be doing it from 8 to 10. It'll be a bunch of covers. I'm probably going to do that song, as well as some other Stoneburner material. And I've got half dozen new covers tonight from KMFDM,
Wow.
Killing Joke, what else?
What time?
Underworld. So,
What time? What time?
Oh, 8 to 10. 8 to
At
10 Eastern
8 to 10
Standard
Eastern,
Time.
Twitch
God
TV.
own time.
Twitch TV slash, was it Ego Likeness?
I believe so, yeah.
At
Yeah.
8 p.m. Adam from Big Time Kill says new track sounds cool and digging the ghostly background vocals. Neil from Toronto says kick ass. We have, as with all my time with you, Steven, it's flying by in a time warp. I'm gonna get to some questions I definitely want to ask.
Yeah.
We were talking about Alex, the new Half-Life
Oh,
installation, before the show. But if you had the power to design the Stoneburner video game, like, I need to know what that would be like.
I
Like,
actually looked into that.
Okay, really?
I wanted to do a first-person shooter for Red and Tooth and Claw.
Yeah!
It was just a 5-minute long game for the song, and you just played it while the song played. And you're just the giant world wolf, red wolf, and literally the entire point of the game is just destroying everything.
Awesome.
And you can't be killed until the very end of the song. And
Wow.
I did a video for one of the songs called which one? It's just called The World Wolf, and I haven't finished it, but it's actually a first-person shooter video game from the wolf's perspective, with me singing in its eye, and it's got ultra kill.
Yeah. Oh man. So that's a video.
Yeah.
That's in production right now.
Yeah, I need to get back to it.
Oh, looking forward to that, man. So
it was one of those things I posted up online. I was like, is this really stupid or is this cool? Because I have no idea. It seems cool to me, but my taste is questionable. So.
I am viscerally excited for that. What would you say to someone looking to start in industrial or dark wave or whatever we're calling it, and to extend, if you could go back in time, and what would you tell burgeoning artist Stephen Archer recording on that 4-track?
I'm actually, it's weird. I look back and I'm so pleased with, and I think it's because I didn't start, I was in my late 20s, early 30s when we were doing that. Mm-hmm. And I already had the art background. So the big thing that I went by was, there is no way I'm going to make really well-produced music with a 4-track. It's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So allow the flaws to be part of it. And so when we went into doing those demos for Dead City, I started with the idea, it's like, well, what would happen if you took Massive Attack's Mezzanine and Last Rites and stuck them together? Mm-hmm. And it allowed for all of the quirks and the noise and the problems that come along with just using that setup. And I think that even now, I still maintaining all of that mentality and not getting too focused on the production has to be perfect. It's not that the production has to be perfect. The songs have to be good. Dragonfly, and War of the Dead and stuff, the production on it's not that great, but the songs are really good. And those songs went out into the world and they resonate with people and they said what we wanted them to say. And that's something I'm really proud of. Like the production, all that stuff isn't nearly as important. That's going to be the only people that kind of stuff's going to be important to are the people who want to give you shit, like
What do you mean?
who are getting neurotic about their own problems.
Mm.
Like when we did Dead City, and I was running around with bricks of cassette tapes, and I was running off
Yeah.
by hand and handing them to people. I just was like, if somebody comes along and says, this sounds like crap, it's like, well, you know what? Next one will be better. But
Awesome.
it exists. It exists. It's there. It did its thing. And, you know, like obviously as a producer, you want to make it sound as good as possible, but you also need to know what those limits are. Like
Mm.
when I've had people come up to me and they say, well, what is it that you tell people about when they first get into it. It's like, okay, so here's the main thing to remember. Your home studio is never going to be as good as a pro production studio. The acoustics are shit, your gear is shit, and
Mm.
that's okay. My gear is shit. My acoustics are shit. So don't sit there and compare it. You can
Mm.
use those as rough guides for where you're going, but if you can't get there, you can't get there, and that's okay. As long as the songs matter and you mean them, and this goes back to what we were saying about
Mm.
writing about what you know. Like there's no way I could write about oh, I don't know. I don't know what people write industrial songs about.
Right.
Cyborgs. So like I couldn't write something about that and with any sort of sincerity. It's just not how
Hmm.
I work. I can write about medications and mental illness
Hmm.
and giant wolves. Even with the fiction, with third or first world murderer, um, I played that for a couple of people. Peter, who wrote Blindsight, and he was like, "You managed to sum up in 60 seconds how I feel, the anger that I feel at
Mm.
humanity." And so if you can just succeed in those things, that will always come through the other problems. If there's production issues, things like
Yeah.
that. Like, don't worry about that. Just make
Yeah.
honest music.
That's awesome, man. Like, all the $5,000 VSTs in the world aren't gonna sound as good as your honesty.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You know, and um, and a lot of times too, like those are the little elements, the little mistakes and the little blips and
Right.
things that make the things unique in the first place. Like
Right.
you can go back and try and I can't recreate the stuff we did on Dead City because like there are elements in there that just happen by accident. And that's one of those things that doing the covers too, where like you just have to try and figure out a way to sort of make an analog of whatever it was that worked. But
Mm.
it always loses something in the translation.
You're making me think of, what the prime example of this might be. If I say to you Radiohead's "Creep," what part of that song do you think about first? The shunk shunk, that weird little
Right.
like. That you're not gonna
Yeah.
be able to recreate that just like with a test tube and mechanically analyzing,
Yeah.
what weird like
Well, like a Nursery
sonic.
Creeps, it's got that whanny, whanny,
Yeah.
whanny hook sound they use. And I was like, I can't make that. And I don't want to sample it. And so I ended up taking a whole bunch of guitars
Mm.
and just fucking them up. And that's what actually ended up causing it to get heavier and heavier as it progressed because I
Hmm.
took these kind of did the right sort of sound and it worked. It functioned the same way that sample functioned. So it works and that's okay.
Nice.
But yeah, exactly. It's like and that's cool. I think that as an artist, if
Hmm.
somebody were covering one of our songs, and a few people have done it over the years. One guy did it. I gave him a remix kit of Aviary to do, and he was like, "I don't know what to do with this. Every time I get rid of a sound, the entire thing falls apart because they're all so important." And I was like, "Well, I don't know." So he comes back. He's like, "I couldn't do a remix, but I did a cover of it, and it's just me playing acoustic guitar and doing the song, and it's brilliant." We
Mm.
put it out on one of the Compass EPs, so it's out
Nice.
it's out on that compilation. Um, Hi, Sophie.
Hey!
Where is she? Oh, there you are. Come here. Why are you yelling at me? Because that's what I do. I yell.
Oh, I was hoping
See,
we get some guest star Sophie Meows on this episode.
come on.
Oh, that's all right.
But like that's like if somebody were to cover something that we did and hi, and it like I would much rather see them work out on their own how to do some sort of weird little sound
Hmm.
than just because sampling it's easy, but actually
Right.
but it's also kind of the antithesis of what we're about. So
Yeah, I mean, but it's not there. It's this weird sort of like border space that electronic musicians exist in. Oh, hi, kitty.
well, and that's
Um,
what I think about a lot is that I'm so glad that I'm in a style of music where there really are just no rules.
mhm.
I can just do whatever, and as long as it gets the job done, I can use any type of sound. I'm not limited to rock, guitar, bass, and drums.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, you've used them to great effect in the past, but then, Stoneburner went completely left. I mean, it's not A to Z. It's A to one, like lateral, vertical movements at 3D space. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's
Yeah, well, even like with Red and Tooth and Claw, there's a kick and a snare and some hats on there. Every other drum on there are samples of machinery and
love it.
MRIs.
I love it.
Like like they're all just completely, not at all actual drums. But I mean, like one of the best sample sets I ever built was we've got an old guitar, acoustic guitar, and I took a deer scapula and shoved
What?
it up under the strings, and then played the strings and the rest of the instrument with drumsticks, and just recorded all of that, and then broke them up into samples.
That's some dark
And
web shit, dude. Love it. I love it. We are on as you know, a rogue flight path out here in space, and if you got something going on tonight, I'm gonna bring the flying couch back into the station. Let me try to be a little bit professional and uh, get it all encapsulated. We have uh, stoneburnerofficial.com for the 3 day old Compromat 1. We have Red in Tooth and Claw. Um, one by, give me the title again. I'm gonna mess it up. One by one.
oh,
We
Mass Driver came out before Red and Tooth and Claw
yes,
in the fall, and then Technology Implies Belligerence came out last summer, and that was the
nice,
last full.
very cool. Those are all there. And
Also,
what?
later this year, I've got releases through Distortion. I've got two Queen Neon records coming
Oh,
out,
Queen Neon. I love it.
and my weird, really abstract metal project called Ocellus,
What?
which came out.
What? Oh, I know Celis.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'll send it to you. It's
No, I'm
so
happy about
I
more
did it like
Celis.
5 years ago, and once again for me, a lot of it comes down to concepts. I wrote this record based on what I thought Author and Punisher sounded like without having actually heard them, and and it also came about because I learned about what I ran across the word ocellus, and I was like, "That's cool." Ocelli are the little white dots on the back of cat ears or tiger ears that
Uh-huh.
act as false eyes.
Nice.
I was like, "That's such a cool concept." So I ended up the record ended up being called "False Lashes for False Eyes."
Very
Um,
okay. Yes, yes, totally, totally.
So yeah, no, I'll send it to you.
I
I
got it.
dropped
I
a
got it.
video for it earlier this year,
Of course you
just
did.
as a kind of a introduction to it. But yeah, it's another one. I have no idea how I would do it live. It was an experiment in taking really awful sounds and trying to turn them into something that resembled music. Um, like I mean, it's some of the sounds that I'm using that by themselves they're just really horrible and caustic and awful.
Well, if anyone could be relied upon to create beautiful industrial music, it is yourself. You can catch more beautiful industrial music in 4 hours at excuse me, I had to burp.
Oh,
twitchtv.com/ego
also,
likeness.
Ego Likeness has our first new song in 5 years is on Electronic Saviors also called
Oh,
Ghost.
nice.
So
Get Electronic Saviors. Get the Prime Edition if you can, because there's an exclusive gasoline and vertebrate track on that with Stigmata with
great
screwdrivers.
stuff that he's doing.
Yes, yes.
I was fortunate enough to have a moment in the sunshine with, so that was very cool.
With whom?
With you.
Oh,
Remember, I
great.
did a production thing.
Oh, yes. Well, I didn't know I was just talking about the gasoline track on
Oh, yeah.
Electronic Saviors, but we didn't even get into the wonderful production work you did on Gasoline. I didn't want to make it all about me, but you made that song like there's you can tell where this Stephen Hand because the drums get good come in. But thank you very much. I couldn't be happier with the work you did on that track. No,
Oh,
it's called.
you had me up with some really great producers too. So I had to really make sure that it was tight because I was just like, oh well, shit. If Lars is doing it and these other people, I better not suck.
Well, no, I
So
mean it was great. It was one of the emotionally weightier. I mean, it's all kind of dark, but that was like a kind of a heavy hitter. So I was like, all right, I gotta give this to a guy that I know will treat my baby well in its absence. So thank you for that. I'm going to throw in a plug-in for gasolineinverter.bandcamp.com. Check out Steven's wonderful production work on Viscosity Breakdown is the name of that track. Gasoline, you get it? You want to go to, I mean, really anywhere on the internet in 4 hours to check out some more wonderful work. We will see Steven. Let's throw in a plug here. We're going over, but that's okay. Saturday night for a
oh yeah,
pretty
yeah,
dope lineup.
yeah.
Some
I'm
fresh
so
faced
with
newcomers called Ministry, Negative
yeah.
Land. Check out Stoneburner at the Hell Labs festival. That's Daryl and Boston Gosticle Deathly D putting that on. You can channel surf if you want to watch the Gosticles on Terminus Festival as well. It's kind of the new reality we're living in that just like your friends are going to be on at the same time, but it's all
You know what
right.
though, really cool about it is that
What's
I
up?
haven't seen anybody going, "Don't watch that, watch this, don't
One
watch it."
hundred percent,
So many
right?
people are just so like, just some people will have multiple things on at the same time when they're watching it. I haven't seen any festivals worry. They don't worry about headliners.
Right.
Everybody's just kind of on when they can do it, and I think that's so cool.
That's the best. Like my buddy Sprite from back in Chicago posted like, here's who's DJing right now while I'm DJing on other channels. That just blew me
That's
away. Like
that's really cool.
it's pretty great, man. I'm really glad you brought that up. You got stuff to do. So let's let you do
I do, but
that.
I do want one moment
Oh
here,
yeah, shit. Go
and a
ahead. Go for
thing
it. Go for it.
anyway, about the existence of Gosticle's
Yes.
brand shoulder shave gel. It's the only shoulder shave gel I use. I use I use it every day, which is why my shoulders are so smooth,
Oh
and why
man.
our cat has no hair.
Ha! Yes, that's the tagline right there. I mean, not only was that
Test it on
transition
animals.
smooth, but your shoulders, if they get any smoother, we're just gonna lose friction, like totally. Like your tattoos will come off.
Uh,
The
it,
the
it,
Oh, look at
it's,
it goes on so
it
it
is.
glides on.
And it
So
makes it much easier to take my human skin off at the end of the night.
well, yeah, I mean, you don't want to show up to the reptile meetings with the human suit on. It's just gonna weird
Exactly.
everybody out. But like, so this is so smooth. Sarah, what's up? This is Brian for Steven, for Space Couch, for Stoneburner saying, call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for Devanarchy, and interface with a couch in Space Couch. Ow.
Yeah, she always sounds so angry, and she just it's just it's her only it's her she, the only word she knows, and it just comes out angrily. I don't know why. Oh, hi, and here she is again.
Oh. Yeah!
Come on up. Hey, come on.